She gave Sheikh Hamdan a child, but his wife got the title. She gave him the most permanent thing one person can give another. Not a promise, not a feeling, not the kind of love that lives in poetry and private conversations, and the specific intimacy of two people who have chosen each other in the quiet hours when no one is watching. Something more permanent than all of that. A child, a living, breathing, growing human being who carries his blood and his eyes and whatever specific combination of his qualities that genetics decides to pass forward into the next generation. She gave him that, the most irreversible gift, the one that cannot be taken back by any palace decision or royal arrangement or strategic recalculation of what the official story requires. And his wife, the woman his father chose. The woman whose name appears in the official announcements, the woman who entered the marriage through the correct channels with the correct family and the correct political value. She got the title, the official recognition, the public acknowledgement, the name and the position and the place in the story that the world is permitted to read. One woman gave him everything that is permanent. The other woman got everything that is official. And Sheikh Hamdan has been living inside the gap between those two realities for longer than either of them has probably been able to fully accept. To understand the specific weight of this division, you have to understand what a title means in the world he inhabits. It is not just a word. It is not simply a designation that appears on official documents and introductions and the carefully managed announcements that royal families use to tell the world who belongs where in the official picture. A title at the level of a royal family in the Gulf is a form of recognition that carries legal, social, and historical weight that most people outside that world have no equivalent for. It determines what a person is owed, what they are protected by, what their children inherit, what history records about them, and their connection to the family they are officially part of. The title that Sheikha received when she married Hamdan was not a piece of paper. It was a place in the world, a recognized, protected, historically recorded place. The woman who gave him a child received none of that. Her child exists, genuinely, physically, completely, in the world. But the child's existence is not in the official record in the way that an acknowledged child's existence would be. The mother's connection to Hamdan is not in the official record. The life they built together, the real one, the private one, the one where the feelings were genuine and the commitment was actual rather than arranged, is not in the official record. She gave him something that cannot be undone. And the world that surrounds him decided that the giving of that permanent, irreversible thing did not qualify her for the recognition that the arrangement of a marriage qualified someone else to receive. There is an injustice in this that does not require complicated analysis to feel. A woman who loves someone and gives them a child and builds a life with them in full genuine commitment should receive more acknowledgement than a woman whose primary qualification was family, connection, and political value. That is a simple enough proposition. Most people, hearing it stated plainly, would agree with it. And yet, the world that Hamdan lives in does not operate on that simple proposition. It operates on a different logic, the logic of institutions and bloodlines and the long-term interests of families whose survival depends on managing their official story with precision. In that logic, the mother of his child without the official recognition is a detail to be managed. And the wife with the title but without the genuine connection is the correct configuration for the Crown Prince of Dubai. She understood this going in. That is the thing about the women in his private life that the world consistently underestimates. They are not naive. They did not enter these situations without understanding the terms. She knew that loving him and building a life with him and eventually giving him a child was not going to produce the official recognition that the arrangement with his wife was designed to produce. She knew the terms. She accepted them because the alternative, not loving him, not building what they built, not giving him the child that the child became, was less acceptable to her than the terms. She made that choice with open eyes. And then she lived inside the consequences of it with the same eyes open, watching the wife get the title, the official photographs, the public acknowledgement, the place in the story, while she and her child existed in the private version, that the official story had decided was not going to be made visible. The child grows up knowing who their father is, in whatever way the mother has chosen to share that knowledge. In whatever age appropriate, carefully considered form, the truth of the child's origins has been made available to them. The child knows that the man their mother loved is Sheikh Hamdan, knows that the Crown Prince of Dubai is their father in the real, biological, irreversible sense, and knows at some level that children begin to access as they grow older, that this knowledge does not translate into the official recognition that the word father usually carries, that there is a gap between who their father is and what their father's world is prepared to call them. That gap, the one between the biological permanence of what she gave and the official recognition that was given instead to someone else, is something the child is going to have to find a way to carry without having created any of the circumstances that produced it. Hamdan carries the weight of it differently than anyone else in the situation. He is the person at the center of both realities, the official one that produced the title and the private one that produced the child. He knows both. He is connected to both, and the knowledge of both, held simultaneously inside a man who has always felt things more deeply than the role has permitted him to show, produces the specific quality of grief that has been visible in his eyes for years. Not the grief of a man who regrets, but the grief of a man who understands, with full clarity, the injustice of a situation he has not been able to correct, who watches his child grow without the recognition that the child deserves, who watches the woman who gave him something permanent receive nothing official for the giving, who carries that gap between what is real and what is recognized, between what was given and what was received. In every poem he has written since the child arrived in the world, she gave him a child. His wife got the title. And somewhere in the space between those two facts, between the permanent and the official, between the real and the recognized, the most honest story of Sheikh Hamdan's life has always been waiting to be told. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell. Every week, I bring you the real story of Sheikh Hamdan, the women who gave everything, the titles that went to someone else, and the truth about what is permanent and what is merely official in the life of the Crown Prince of Dubai.